Greetings. Today, let's talk about how we can reimagine our classrooms using innovative ways of teaching. Let us think for a moment. When we were students, most of us sat in rows, quietly listening to the teacher, writing notes, and preparing for tests. Today, many of our students are doing the same thing. They are expected to listen, remember, and reproduce information. But is that the best way to learn in the 21st century? Learning should not be passive. Real learning happens when students are active, curious, and engaged. Let us take a simple example. Imagine a science class where students are not just reading about plants from a book, but imagine going out into the garden, observing leaves, touching the soil, planting seeds, and watching them grow. In this environment, learning becomes alive. Students remember more, ask more questions, and feel more connected to the subject. This is what innovative pedagogy can do. When we use our creative methods, we make space for every child to grow. Not every student learns in the same way. Some are visual learners, some are better with hands-on tasks, some need more time, some are shy but think deeply. Traditional classrooms, they often leave these children behind. But when we use storytelling, group projects, theatre, art, music, games, and technology in teaching, we open the doors for all types of learners. We give them a chance to shine. Let us imagine a scenario. The teacher who used role play to explain historical events, instead of just reading about the Indian independence struggle, if students acted as freedom fighters, British officers, and journalists, that would be more impactful. So they write their own dialogues and they debate the issues of that time. At the end of that lesson, they not only understand history better, but they also develop empathy, confidence, and communication skills. That is the power of an innovative classroom. Another example is from a rural school that had very limited resources. The teacher there, they used empty boxes, stones, and sticks to teach mathematics. Children learned additions and subtractions by moving stones into boxes. They played games to understand multiplication. It was fun and they were learning without even realizing it. That teacher didn't need expensive tools. They need only creativity and care. Then technology also plays a big role in transforming education. Digital tools, educational applications, videos, and smart boards, they can make learning interactive and exciting. A student in a remote village, he can now watch his science experiments on a tablet or connect with students in another country through Zoom calls. This helps build global understanding and it opens up a world of possibilities. But innovation is not only about tools, it is also about attitude. It is about teachers being open to new ideas, asking questions, and learning along with the students. It is about building trust in the classroom so students feel safe to speak, safe to explore, safe to make mistakes. When students know their ideas matter, they become more responsible, motivated, and joyful learners. To reimagine these classrooms, we not only just have new methods, but also new mindsets. We must believe that change is possible. We must support our teachers with training, resources, and encouragement. We must listen to our students, respect their voices, and celebrate their growth, not just for their grades sake. So, to prepare them for life. Let us remember the purpose of education is not to fill minds with facts. It is to highlight the fire of curiosity, to build character, to encourage dreams, and to prepare children for life, not just for exams as we discussed. When we shift our classrooms from silence to dialogues, from routine to creativity, from fear to freedom, we create not just better students, but better human beings. That is the power of innovative pedagogy. So now let's see the call for innovation. Why do we need innovative or innovation? We are living in a time where everything is changing so fast. Every day we see new technologies, new ideas, and new ways of living. Children today grow up in a world full of information. They are full of information. They learn to swipe screens before they learn to write letters. They watch videos, they play educational games, and they ask smart coaching. They are fast thinkers, they are the creative dreamers, and they are the quick learners. But when they enter schools, many of them feel stuck. They sit in classrooms that still follow old systems. They listen to long lectures. They write notes from the blackboard. They memorize facts for exams. This kind of teaching no longer matches the world they live in this 21st century. That is why we must answer the call for innovation. Then we must ask ourselves how we can make learning match the energy, curiosity, and creativity of today's children. Then innovative pedagogy, it does not mean we must buy expensive equipment or follow complex ideas. It simply means we must teach in a way that truly helps every child to understand, to grow, and to succeed. Let us look at a real example. A teacher in a small town wanted to teach students about water conservation. Instead of giving a lengthy lecture, she asked the students to look at their homes and villages. The teacher encouraged them to talk to their grandparents about how water was used in the past. The students created posters. They made small models of rainwater harvesting systems and even wrote poems. They wrote poems about saving water. In the end, they not only understood the topic, but they also became change makers in their own homes. This is the innovation. It is so simple, it is meaningful, and it makes learning stay in the heart. Another example is a classroom where children learn through storytelling. Instead of just teaching English grammar, the teacher lets children create their own short stories and perform them in the classroom. They learn sentence structures, they learn vocabulary, they learn expression. But in a way that is fun, that is alive, and that is full of imagination. When children enjoy what they learn, they remember it longer and use it better. This is what innovative pedagogy can do. Sometimes innovation can be as easy as changing the questions we ask. For example, instead of asking, what is the capital of India? We can ask, if you are the Prime Minister, how would you improve your capital city? One question, it is two. One question checks the memory, the other builds creativity, thinking, and leadership. A small change like this in a question, it can make a big difference in how children think and learn. We must also understand that innovation or innovative pedagogy, it gives teachers more joy. Teaching becomes exciting when students ask bold questions, try new things, and show surprising talents. It becomes a journey of discovery for both teachers and students. In our days, Telugu teachers, they use dramas. They use drama to teach moral values. The students acted out the scenes of honesty, kindness, and courage. They laughed, they cried, they thought deeply. But in the end, they didn't just learn about values, they felt those values. And that is real learning. The future of our children depends on how we teach them today. We cannot prepare them for tomorrow using yesterday methods. We need to use our hearts, our creativity, and our courage to try new ways. We need to allow children to explore, to question, and to learn with joy. We need to reimagine our classrooms as a places of energy, inspiration, and discovery. So let us not be afraid of change. Let us welcome the change. Let us become the educators who teach not just with the chalk and board, but with the love and purpose and innovation. Let us reimagine learning. Let us reimagine that learning together. So let's see the innovation that focus on the learner. Every child is different. Some children learn quickly, some take time, some love books, and other students learn better when they use their hands. Then some children imagine stories, others like solving problems. If children are not the same, then why should teaching be the same for everyone? Innovative pedagogies, they focus on the learner. They change the classroom to suit the needs of the child, not other way around. In these classrooms, children feel seen, children feel heard, and children feel supported. And here we see differentiated instruction. In Tamil Nadu, a teacher understood that her students were all different. So the teacher did not give everyone the same work. Instead, she created activity cards. For children who finished quickly, she gave puzzles that stretched their thinking. For children who liked stories, she gave creative writing tasks. For those who enjoyed acting, she gave role-play games. She walked around the room. Smiling, guiding, and encouraging. Each child was doing something meaningful. Each child was learning in their own style. This is called differentiated instruction. It means teaching with care. Teaching with care. It means giving every child the right tools to grow. When teachers use this method, students become more confident and more engaged. They feel respected. Students feel respected. And when children feel respected, they try harder and they learn better. Now let's see the other method, peer learning. Children can be wonderful teachers to each other. In a school in Rajasthan, the teachers instructed a buddy system. Older students helped the younger ones. They read stories. They read stories together. They played mathematics games. They explained science in simple ways. The classroom became a place of friendship and teamwork. The older children, they felt proud to teach. The younger children, they felt safe to ask questions. This peer learning, it made the whole school stronger. It built trust, it built cooperation, it built joy. Sometimes children explain things in a way that is easier to understand than textbooks. They use their own words, their own examples, and they connect better. When children learn together, magic happens. They become active, they become responsible, they become kind. Then we'll see the next method, innovation that empowers the teacher. Teachers are the heart of education, but in many schools, they are given long list of tasks. and very little freedom to teach. They must finish lessons fast, correct homework, take exams, fill reports, and attend meetings. With all this pressure, where is the space to be creative for teachers? So we must empower teachers not just with training but with trust. When teachers feel supported, they bring their best ideas to the class. Then we'll see the next model, artists and artisans. Mexico's CONAFE model it is. In small village of Mexico, some teachers have no electricity, no internet and no smart boards. But they teach with art, music and joy. This is part of the CONAFE model in Mexico. These teachers use storytelling to explain history. They sing songs to teach science. They paint to show geography. Children in these remote places, they do not feel left behind. They feel inspired. In India, we see the same spirit. In many government schools, the teachers, they create learning materials from simple things. They draw on walls. They write lines with local words and they use stones and sticks for counting. One teacher in Odisha, she created a puppet show to teach English. In Madhya Pradesh, a teacher used local folk songs to explain moral values. These are not small efforts. They are powerful acts of love and dedication. They show that passion, even a simple classroom can become a center of creativity. When teachers feel free to innovate, students feel excited to learn. When classrooms are filled with color, songs and movement, education becomes alive. Innovation is not only about technology, it is about attitude. It is about putting the learner first. It is about trusting the teacher. And when both the learner and the teacher feel empowered, real transformation begins. Let us build such classrooms together. In many schools today, teachers still work alone in their classrooms. But in modern student-friendly schools, teachers from different subjects, they work together as a team. This is called team teaching. It brings fresh energy. It brings fresh energy, more ideas and better support for children. Then imagine a topic like water. A science teacher explains how water changes form from ice to liquid to vapor. An art teacher guides students to paint rivers, lakes and rainfall. A language teacher asks them to write poems, stories or essays about their favorite water memories. This kind of teamwork, it gives students a full picture of the topic. They don't just understand facts. They feel emotions, they create art and they use language. One school in Delhi designed a project called Seasons. The English teacher introduced stories set in different weather. The science teacher taught the reasons behind weather changes. The dance teacher choreographed the performances based on summer, monsoon and winter. Students had fun and also built strong knowledge across subjects. Multidisciplinary approaches, they help children to see that learning is not separate boxes. It's all connected. Learning is connected just like life. Now let's see the gamification. Gamification, it means using games elements in learning. Children love to play, so why not use games to teach them? In Kerala, a math teacher turned the classroom into a treasure island. She hid clues with mathematics puzzles around the school. When students solved one, they received the next. They had to work in teams, run to different spots and calculate answers quickly. While playing, they were learning multiplication, logic and teamwork. They didn't even realize how much mathematics they had learned because it felt like fun. In another school in Gujarat, a teacher used language bingo to teach English vocabulary. She gave students cards with words. As she called out meanings or used the words in sentences, students had to match and shout bingo. It was exciting. It was exciting and helped students remember new words faster. So games like quiz, spelling bees, board games, or even mobile applications, they can be used in any subject. When learning feels like play, students show more interest. They stay focused longer and become less afraid of making mistakes. This is a gamification method. Then let us see flipped classrooms. In traditional classrooms, the teacher talks and students listen. At home, students do homework alone. But in the flipped classroom model, this is reversed. Students watch video lessons at home. These videos are short and simple, showing key areas clearly. Then in class, they talk about what they watch. They ask questions and they do activities based on the videos they watch. This method gives students time to think and come to a class prepared. In a school in Maharashtra, the teacher recorded short videos explaining algebra. Students watched these at home, even replayed different difficult parts if they do not understand. In class, they discussed the problems and solved them together. The teacher had more time to help slower learners one-on-one. Students became more confident because they could prepare in advance. Flipped classrooms, they work very well because they respect every child's pace. Fast learners go deeper, others take their time. Parents can also join and understand what their child is studying. It turns the classroom into an active place full of ideas, not just silence or not just note-taking. Then we'll see the experiential and the real-world learning method. Learning becomes stronger when students experience it. Experiential learning, it means learning by doing. It helps students apply their knowledge in real situations. In Himachal Pradesh, a school built a small farm on campus. Students planted vegetables, they watered plants, they tested soil, they recorded weather, and even sold their crops. Through this method, they learned biology, it's a plant growth, and they learned mathematics, measurements and profit. They learned language, writing reports, and they learned values, hard work and responsibility. So they saw the connection between textbook knowledge and real life. Another school in Tamil Nadu, they started a marketing. Students created stalls and they sold homemade items like bookmarks, crafts and snacks. They learned marketing, teamwork, money handling and communication skills. The mathematics teacher became a space for budgeting. The art class helped designing posters. The English class, it helped write product descriptions. This made learning meaningful and exciting. Even field trips, interviews with community workers, science experiments, state plays, school election, it can be real-world learning. These activities teach more than facts. They build leadership, they build empathy, they build creativity and problem solving. In the real world, knowledge alone is not enough. Skills matter and experiential learning, it builds both. Innovative teaching is not about big words or costly tools. It is about real change in how we see the child, the classroom and the future. Team teaching, gamification, flipped learning and real life experiences, they are not just strategies. They are ways to bring joy back. Bring joy back into learning. When teachers try new things, students feel more alive. When schools become spaces of creativity and freedom, education becomes a celebration. Let us all work together to make every classroom a place where students not only learn, but they love to learn. So, let's see the innovation in the environment, which is very important. Learning is not just about what happens in the classroom. It is also about where and how it happens. The environment matters. A dull classroom with broken benches and black walls, it does not inspire young minds. But a lively, flexible and colorful space, it can spark curiosity and joy. Many schools across India, they are reimagining their learning spaces. They are moving away from the old model of one teacher, one blackboard and silent students. They are creating environments where children move, where children talk, where children ask, where children explore and where children feel free to learn in their own way. Now let's talk about flexible classrooms. In Delhi, one school created a flexible classroom with bean bags, floor mats, reading corners and group tables. Instead of sitting in rows, students sat in circles to discuss stories. They stood up to solve problems on the wall. They used flashcards, models, charts that were always within reach. This made the classroom feel like a workshop, which means active, energetic and full of ideas. Children who used to feel bored or shy, they became more confident and alert. Then we see the building as learning aid. It is another powerful innovation. It transforms the school building into a learning space. The walls are painted with the mathematics tables, maps and alphabets. Stairs have numbers, floors have games, even the doorways become spaces for measuring height or learning local words. In a school in Bihar, the teacher used the outdoor garden as a nature lab. Students measured rainfall, observed butterflies and tracked plant growth. The building became a book, a place where every corner taught something. Rural library program, it is in Karnataka. In some village of Karnataka, there were no libraries. So the community came together to build some libraries. They used mud walls, bamboo shelves and old mats. They collected storybooks in local languages, magazines and old newspapers. Children started coming in the evenings. They read under lanterns. They discussed the stories with elders. They borrowed books and they shared them with their friends. And in another village, a girl who used to skip school, she started reading regularly and then returned to class. These libraries are not just about books. They are about hope. They show that learning can grow even in the simplest spaces when a community believes in it. Then we'll see innovation in assessment. In most schools, children are judged by marks. But marks only show how well a child remembers something on one day. They do not show what the child understands, feels or creates. That is why innovative pedagogy focuses on competency based. They can measure real abilities. Can the child explain an idea? Can they solve a problem in a new way? Can children work in a team? Can children speak clearly or write their own thoughts? In Maharashtra, one school replaced unit tests with project reviews. Students were asked to create posters, role play stories, or build models to explain what they learned. Teachers gave feedback, not just marks. They gave feedback. Parents saw the work and joined the celebration. This made learning more meaningful. Students were no longer afraid of failure. They became eager to show what they knew in their own creative ways. In another school in Assam, the teacher used observation checklist instead of exam. She watched how students behaved during group work, how they solved puzzles, how they asked questions, and how they helped each other. This helped her understand not just their knowledge, but their values, their communication, and their confidence. Such assessments, they look at the whole child, not just a number. Then, inclusive, joyful, and equitable learning. The true goal of education is not just knowledge, it is joy, equality, and dignity. An innovative classroom, it must welcome every child. It must adapt for children who are slow learners. It must include children from tribal villages, slums, and migrant families. It must support children with disabilities. In a school in Tamil Nadu, the teacher used sign language to include hearing impaired students. In a school in Chhattisgarh, a community group donated solar lamps so children in remote area they could study at night. Equity means fairness. It means giving each child what they need, not treating everyone the same, but treating everyone with the same respect and same care. Joy means that children should feel excited to come to school. They should laugh, they should ask, they should try, and they should grow. In an innovative classroom, no one is left behind. Every child is seen as a dreamer, a doer, and a future maker. This is the heart of experiential learning. When learning becomes real, inclusive, and joyful, children not only learn better, they live better. Let us create classrooms that bring, classrooms that welcome, and classrooms that lift every child up. Then we have one of the best jobs. One of the best jobs in the world, because we get to work with the people who are energetic, creative, funny, and insightful. They are the kids, children, students. And the best part is they happen to be 14 to 18 years of age. Working with young minds is truly inspiring, and we believe that students, especially in their teenage years, they have the power to keep a person young. They help us look at the world in fresh and exciting ways. And this is why we sometimes find it a little tricky when we are surrounded by adults who may not always share the same energy. If we look back to our early ancestors, we can see that critical thinking, problem solving, and teamwork, they were essential for their survival. They had to collaborate, they had to communicate, they had to be creative in order to hunt, in order to gather, and in order to share their experiences around the campfire. These are the same skills we need in the classroom today to build a classroom environment that supports these 5 C's: collaboration, communication, critical thinking, creativity, and choice. We need to shift from a teacher-centered model to a student-centered model. This shift means stepping back and becoming a guide on this side rather than a lecturer at the front. This allows us to coach, mentor, nurture, and inspire students in a way that is far more meaningful and engaging. However, these ideas are not new. Many of the greatest educators, from ancient philosophers to modern day mentors, they have recognized the importance of these principles. There are countless teachers throughout history who have contributed to the understanding of how we learn and how we should teach. In our classrooms, today we have the opportunity to implement these ideas through activities that give students a sense of ownership over their learning. Imagine a biology class. Imagine a biology classroom where students have the freedom to choose how they engage with the material. They might work on hands-on laboratory experiments, watch educational videos, or collaborate with peers to solve real-world problems. Some students might even present their learnings in creative ways, like making models or performing skits. This not only allows them to show their understanding, but also makes learning more fun and engaging. In these classrooms, students are not just sitting passively and receiving information instead. They actively participate, ask questions, and engage with the content. This approach not only helps them retain information, but also it nurtures a love for learning in the heart of the student-centered approach. It is the relationship between teacher and student. When students know that their teachers cares about them, they are more motivated. They are more motivated to learn and excel. So, what should we focus on as educators or teachers? We should focus on creating classrooms where students have the freedom to make choices, where students can work collaboratively, where students communicate their ideas, think critically, and express their creativity. And above all, we must always remember that the most powerful tool for motivating and inspiring students is our ability to care for them. When we show them that we believe in their potential, we help them believe in themselves. Let us not forget the importance of showing genuine care for our students, not just as learners, but as individuals. The little things like asking about their day or attending their extracurricular activities, it's a matter. It's a matter to students. When we take the time to listen and support them, they will remember it long after they leave classrooms. The greatest impact we can have on our students, it comes not from the curriculum or the grades, but from the relationship we build with the students and the love we show to the students as individuals. This is what they will remember the most. When we inspire students through genuine care and creativity, engaging learning experiences, we prepare them for the future in ways that truly matter. So, let us inspire students by giving them the freedom to explore, freedom to collaborate, freedom to communicate, and freedom to think critically and create. But let us also never forget the most important element of all, caring. That is caring. It is this caring that will leave a lasting impact on students, making students feel valued and capable of achieving anything they set their minds to. Let's not just teach, let's inspire. We as teachers, we are fortunate enough to have one of the most fulfilling and dynamic jobs in the world.